Welcome to the American Archive. Imagine stepping out of your front door, walking down the hall and arriving at the post office, the grocery store, the police station, and the doctor's office, all without ever putting on a coat, grabbing an umbrella, or stepping foot outside. In most places, that sounds like a sci-fi dystopia or a futuristic urban planning experiment. But in a remote corner of Alaska, it is simply Tuesday. Today we are diving deep into the bizarre, fascinating story of Whittier, Alaska, a town where nearly the entire population lives under a single roof. This is the story of how a top-secret, Cold War military installation transformed into one of the most eccentric, self-contained communities in the United States, and why the people who call it home wouldn't trade it for the world. The gateway to nowhere, isolation by design. To understand Whittier, you first have to understand where it is and how fiercely protected it is from the outside world. Tucked away at the head of Passage Canal on the edge of Prince William Sound, Whittier is completely walled in by the Chugach Mountains and churning frigid waters. For decades, land access was virtually non-existent. Even today, entering or leaving this town by car requires driving through the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, a grueling 2.5-mile single-lane marvel that is shared by both cars and a railway. Here is the kicker. It is the second longest highway tunnel in North America, and it completely closes every single night, when the heavy steel doors seal shut at night. Whittier is entirely cut off from the rest of the world. There is no popping out for a late night, run to the pharmacy, or taking a spontaneous midnight drive. You are either in Whittier or you are locked out until morning. And the weather outside that tunnel? It is punishing. Whittier is one of the wettest and snowiest inhabited places in the entire United States. It gets hammered by over 200 inches of rain and up to 300 inches of snow every single year, accompanied by fierce winds known locally as blizzards that can reach hurricane force, strong enough to pick up cars and toss them like toys. When Mother Nature unleashes her fury on the Alaskan wilderness, stepping outside isn't just uncomfortable, it can genuinely be life-threatening. A Cold War secret emerges from the ice. So why would anyone build a town in such a punishing, inaccessible place? The answer, as is so often the case in Alaska's modern history, traces back to World War II and the looming threat of the Cold War. In the early 1940s, the United States military needed a deep-water port that was safe from enemy attack, well hidden by mountains, and capable of secretly funneling troops and supplies into the interior of Alaska. Whittier fit the bill perfectly. The Army built a massive port facility here, complete with a railroad spur connecting it to Anchorage. Cold War heated up in the late 1940s and 1950s. The military decided to expand Whittier into a major strategic outpost. They needed housing for hundreds of soldiers and civilian contractors, and traditional housing developments weren't going to cut it against the brutal Alaskan elements. The Army's solution was architectural engineering ahead of its time. The Buckner Building, completed in 1953, and its slightly younger twin, the Begich Towers, completed in 1957. At the time, the Buckner Building was touted as the city under one roof. It was a massive, concrete monolith containing barracks, a hospital, a jail, a theater, a bowling alley, and a swimming pool. Troops could live there entire military lives without ever facing the brutal sub-zero winds outside. A few hundred meters away, the Begich Towers, originally named the Hodge Building, was constructed as family quarters for military personnel, standing 14 stories tall. It was a colossal concrete tower rising sharply against the jagged, snow-capped backdrop of the mountains, the great military abandonment. But military technology changes fast. By the 1960s, long-range missile technology and shifting defense strategies made Whittier's secret port largely obsolete. Compounding the military's withdrawal came one of the most violent natural disasters in North American history. The 1964 Great Alaskan Earthquake, measuring a staggering 9.2 on the Richter scale. The earthquake triggered a series of devastating tsunamis that surged into the Passage Canal, heavily damaging Whittier's port and infrastructure. The military packed up, pulled out, and abandoned the massive Buckner Building to the elements, leaving behind a hollowed-out, concrete ghost town that now looks like something straight out of a post-apocalyptic thriller. However, the 14-story Begich Towers remained. The state of Alaska eventually turned the building over to civilian ownership, and a small, resilient band of homesteaders, fishermen, and adventurers decided to move in. They looked at this towering concrete fortress not as an abandoned relic, but as a ready-made civilization. Life inside the monolith, a vertical village. Today, roughly 270 people live in Whittier, and an estimated 85% of them live inside the Begich Towers. Imagine living in a building where your neighbors aren't just next door, they're upstairs, downstairs, and running the local businesses down the hall. Walk through the front doors of the Begich Towers, and you aren't entering a typical apartment lobby. You are stepping onto the main street of a vertical village. On the lower levels, you will find the town post office, where residents gather to catch up on local gossip while picking up their mail. A fully functioning grocery store and convenience shop. A local church operating out of a multi-purpose room. A medical clinic to handle routine health needs. A police station and city offices. Living in the building don't even have to put on heavy winter gear to go to school. A covered underground tunnel connects the Begich Towers directly to the local school building next door, allowing children to walk to class in their t-shirts and sneakers, while a blizzard rages outside. For groceries, laundry, work, or school, residents can complete their entire daily routine without ever feeling a drop of rain or a blast of Arctic wind. Community quirks and cabin fever. Living under one roof with the entire town comes with a unique set of social dynamics. On one hand, the sense of community is profound. In Whittier, nobody is a stranger. If you run out of milk, you don't drive to the store. You knock on a neighbor's door down the hall. If someone falls ill or runs into hard times, the entire building rallies around them like an extended family. It is a throwback to an older, tighter-knit era of human society, stripped of modern isolation. On the other hand, privacy can be a rare commodity. Word travels fast when everyone lives in the same vertical corridor. Petty arguments can feel magnified, and the psychological weight of the long, dark Alaskan winters where daylight shrinks to just a few hours a day can test even the strongest bonds. Locals often joke about a cabin fever, but inside a 14-story building shared by hundreds of people, it's a very real phenomenon. To cope, residents lean heavily into outdoor recreation during the brief, breathtaking Alaskan summers. When the snow melts, the surrounding mountains burst into vibrant green, and the waters of Prince William Sound teem with whales, otters, and salmon. Residents trade their indoor corridors for hiking, fishing, kayaking, and exploring the surrounding wilderness before retreating back into their concrete fortress when winter returns. The twin paradox. The ghost of Buckner you cannot talk about. Whittier without looking out the window at its haunting neighbor, the abandoned Buckner Building. While the Begich Towers hums with life, laughter, children running down the halls, and the hum of refrigerators, the Buckner Building stands just a few hundred meters away like a concrete skeleton. Decades of harsh weather, water damage, mold, and isolation have left the former city under one roof completely derelict. Windows are shattered, metal is rusted, and nature is slowly reclaiming the concrete structure. Moss creeps up the walls, and snow piles high inside rooms where soldiers once slept and planned. Cold War strategies. It serves as a stark, beautiful, and slightly eerie reminder of the transient nature of human ambition in the face of the Alaskan wilderness. Tourists frequently hike out to photograph the exterior, but entering the building is strictly forbidden due to severe structural hazards and asbestos. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Outsiders often look at Whittier with a mixture of awe and pity. How could anyone live like that? Isn't it claustrophobic? Don't you get tired of seeing the exact same neighbors every single day? To the people of Whittier, those questions miss the point entirely. The residents of the Begich Towers are fiercely independent, resilient, and deeply in love with their unconventional lifestyle. They aren't trapped there. They are choosing a life of radical community and raw, unfiltered wilderness. They trade the sprawling commutes, traffic jams, and anonymous isolation of modern suburban life for a tightly knit, warm vertical haven where everyone knows your name and watches your back. In a world that feels increasingly disconnected, digital and fragmented, Whittier, Alaska stands as a bizarre, captivating monument to human adaptability. It proves that no matter how harsh the environment, or how unconventional the shelter, human beings will always find a way to build a home, light a fire, and create a family together, even if it's all under one roof.